to control them all. Because when systems don't meet, when they're out of balance or not in sync with one another, they can't be controlled centrally. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. America, the United States of America, is really under attack right now. We, in the United States, are, the U.S. landmass is about 2.5 times the size of Europe and has roughly half the population, just over half. That landmass is huge, and about 75% of the population lives in large cities. The goal is to move everyone out of the rural areas and into the large cities, and to destroy representative government, and to move it into to government by unelected boards and commissions. Now, here in the EU, of course, you've already moved to that position, where it's an erasure of jurisdictional boundaries, an erasure of national boundaries. And that is the goal, because, as Zbigniew Brzezinski said in 1995, you can't just impose globalization pell-mell as a total movement. You have to do it incrementally, and the way to do that is through regionalization. And in Denmark, for instance, in Denmark, every nation that signed on to Agenda 21 has its local Agenda 21 plan. People in the United States are completely unaware of this. If I go out and talk about this, the United States press attacks me and calls me a conspiracy theorist, which is totally ridiculous. It is a conspiracy, but it's not a theory. It's a fact. Here in Europe, it's openly spoken about, local Agenda 21, and of course here in Denmark, the Aalborg principles, 1994, and then Aalborg plus 10, 2004, was the European Roundtable for local Agenda 21, was held here, and the principles are public-private partnerships, which is fascism. And this is how it's implemented on the ground, is through this joining together between corporations, non-governmental organizations, and governments in order to cut out the actual individual, your voter, and instead to take that to a level where we literally cannot penetrate. And this is the goal. So this is already far progressed in Europe. The 3 pillars of United Nations Agenda 21 are economy, ecology, and equity, the 3 E's, the social equity. And everyone sort of thinks that they know what that means, the idea of social equity. It must mean that, everyone's going to have access to clean water and clean air, and no one's property is going to be used as a dumping ground because they are at a poverty level. But really what social equity is about impoverishing huge portions of the population and bringing down the developed nations. And while this sounds like, it sounds almost like in the United States you'd call that a right-wing point of view, a conservative right-wing point of view. I personally am a liberal. The idea that that something this drastic, this radical would be happening worldwide without people knowing it. All you have to do is look at austerity measures, restrictions on transfers of wealth, additional restrictions on land use, ability, to produce, to use your energy, your water, your industry. All of this is happening in developed nations. So when you have your infrastructure attacked like that, it's going to have a tremendous impact on your ability to prosper, as well as the idea that that everything that we're looking at now is destined to collapse our economies, because the idea